then each spouse pays the divorce coach and their own divorce coach. And if we have a financial specialist, then they usually share in the cost of that financial specialist.
Talking about specialists, what other people are available to help people work out parenting arrangements and other financial people? You mentioned the coach, financial planner. Anybody else that's brought into the process?
Well, we always like we mentioned before, we may have a need to an expert have an appraisal done of a business. What is a business worth? If it's community property, we may need to have appraisals done for real estate. So the group can choose to go outside and ask for expert help on issues that the group needs help on.
How about the coordinating all these people? How does that work?
Well, you know, one thing that is really helpful in collaborative divorce is that we're deciding, for example, that we need to have an appraisal done of the residence. You know, in some adversary cases, this is really kind of crazy, I think, for the most part. Sometimes each side will go out and get their own appraisal. You know, and instead of saying, well, you know, we know this particular appraiser is a good appraiser, he's been doing it for a long time, and we agree up front, then unless the thing comes in really off kilter, that we're going to agree to use the number that appraiser comes up with. So that way we keep a lot of the costs down. Instead of duplicating costs, we're already making agreements to use particular experts and have them render their opinions and go with their opinions.
How do people choose collaborative attorneys? How do they go about the process?
Well, we have to go through a particular training. Like I said, our original group was trained in 2001. We've had lawyers who have been trained since. There are trainings all over the world. I remember when I was in Toronto, I was at a lunch table with people from Germany and France, and there's going to be a training in Cork, Ireland in May. And they joked with me, hey, we come all the way across from Europe to the United States. Why don't you come across and go to a train? I'm not going but this time, but it would be fun.
Next time.
But, you know, you pick people that have been trained as collaborative lawyers in order to have the process work. And like I said, our website, divorcewisely.com, we have a list of all the lawyers and divorce coaches and financial specialists that have been trained. In fact, our group is putting on it's our own collaborative training for professionals in May. I think it's May 2nd, May 1st and 2nd, I believe, Friday and Saturday at the Wyndham Inn.
I'm not sure when we're playing this tape of the show, so it may be before or after May 2nd, but
this is there'll
be other ones.
This is the first time that our group in Tucson is putting on a training.
Good.
So that you could become certified, as opposed to having to go to Phoenix or California or other places.
Just if we can sort of walk me through the process in terms of somebody says, I want to use a collaborative attorney, what would happen?
Well, they would need to locate. They would need to locate one of us who has been trained in collaborative divorce and has that certification, and really just call on the phone, make an appointment.
So they talk to one attorney first, or they talk to both attorneys? How does that, just the logistics of that work?
Well, usually we talk to the client separately, and then and they each pick. And I would give, like, for example, if someone was interested, I would meet with them, explain the different.
And you would suggest that they contact somebody else if the other spouse hadn't already done so?
Then I would give them the list of the other lawyers that are in our group, and to give to their spouse, and hopefully their spouse will be open to looking at speaking with one of the other lawyers, so we can then put the team together.
How often do you meet with the clients during this process? Is there a way of saying?
It really varies. You mean the number of times or how frequently?
Yeah.
It really varies on the situation. We may have meetings. I've had cases that we did 2 meetings and we resolved it. I've had cases where we had 7 or 8 meetings because there were difficult issues to resolve. Sometimes they're spread out depending upon, for example, if we need to go out and get a real estate appraisal or a business appraisal, then there's really no reason for us to meet again until we've gotten the results of that, and we can come together again. So it really is very tailored to what the spouses want, and that's the whole key, is that it's their divorce. It's not for us to run them through it like we do, like may happen sometimes in an adversary case. It's really that we want the control over the process to be that of the clients.
So they got this much more control and self-determination in that situation. Do you have to go to court with the clients during the collaboration case, or?
No. At the end, we put together a settlement agreement, and we do what's called a consent decree, where everybody signs off on the agreement. We just submit it to the court, and the court, as long as we have all the right information that the court and the statutes require, the judge that's assigned to the case will then approve it. It becomes final.
Do they actually have to go to court, or they don't have to even go to court
They don't
anymore?
even have to go to court.
If you don't want to answer this question, I understand it's a tough question to ask, but people always ask me this question as a somewhat of a range of what costs are in this one. And I know that they can vary tremendously from case.
Yeah.
Is it possible to get a range that you find high and low, maybe?
It really is hard to do that because it depends on the complexity of the case. You may have a really straightforward case, and you may have a very complicated case. You may have a case where you need to have experts come in and do appraisals and whatnot. You may need to have the financials, or really suggest that you have a financial specialist. One of the other things I forgot to mention is that another role played by, in our model, is someone called a child specialist. Now they're one of the divorce coaches, but they don't act as a divorce coach, but they're mental health people that are trained therapists. And they act as a child specialist. And they meet with the children by themselves, with the children, and they bring back, that child specialist brings back to the group their thoughts and feelings about how the parenting plan and the process should go to provide input from the children into the divorce process, which usually doesn't happen too often.
We're running short on time. Is there anything that I haven't asked you, or something that you can think of that I haven't asked?
Well, geez, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, it's like as you know, when you go to these annual seminars that bring together hundreds and hundreds of people that are interested in collaborative divorce, it's a movement that is just really taking hold. And I think I'm pumped about it. I've been doing this now for 7 years, over 7 years, and to me, I see when people finish the collaborative process, even though it's a sad thing to get divorced, they feel empowered, they feel like they participated, and they feel like they've really made a difference in dealing with a difficult situation as well as they could.
So it's possible to come out better than you came in at that point, that situation. Good. I have one other question here. I lost my notes. Can you change from collaborative to mediated to adversary, or are you stuck in one process?
No, you can change. I mean, if you feel that you want to do that. Again, if you're changing from collaborative, then everybody has to withdraw, and then the parties could go on to either do a mediation or an adversary. That's not very common to have that happen, but it could happen. Not that usually that common to go from collaborative to mediation, but you could, if you just couldn't agree in a collaborative kind of a process, then the only other option is to hire attorneys that would handle it on the more traditional adversary basis.
I really want to thank you, Robert, for coming and talking to us about collaborative divorce. It's been a fascinating topic, a cutting-edge area, and one that I think people should know more about. I know it's sort of hard to get the word out in these things. People don't always think about it until they want it. Once again, you've been watching Collaborative Divorce today, and our topic today is collaborative divorce, and you get the information about our website in the bottom. And I want to thank once again Robert Hersch for being with us today. It's been Divorce TV with Wally Marcus.
You kind of ran out of things to say about
We're about 27 minutes.